My green flag books and or authors, part 1 of 710. Yes, I said 710 because I have a lot of green flag books, a lot of green flag authors, and narrowing it down to one video would be pretty impossible. So we're going to get through as many of them as we can in this video. Buckle up, Buttercup, get a cup of coffee, get yourself a sparkling water of some sort, because I have stacks of books next to me that would pretty much kill me if they decided to topple over. Let's get started. Let's start off with one of my absolute favorite authors, and that is Mona Awad. She writes basically what is a subgenre called weird girl fiction, and if I'm nothing if not fully and completely weird. So, of course, her books totally vibe with me. I love that her books cannot be read at a surface level to really fully understand and appreciate. You have to dig. You have to dig deep. You have to use your brain, and sometimes I just love that. We got Bunny by Mona Awad, which I have read and tabbed. We have Rouge by Mona Awad, read and tabbed. We have my favorite, All's Well by Mona Awad, read and tabbed. And then we have 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl by Mona Awad, tabbed and read. I loved these books so much. I devoured them. I do have an ARC copy of We Love You, Bunny, which is the follow-up to Bunny, one of her most well-known novels. I can't wait to get into that, but Mona Awad will always be near and dear to my heart. I clearly love her books, and I will read anything that she writes. Another author whose books I will read no matter what is Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. I just can't even describe. Chain Gang All-Stars is probably my favorite book by him. It is fantastic. It is a dystopian fantasy written about the incarceration and prison systems and how absolutely racist and systematic it is to Black and minority communities. I loved this. It is queer. It is heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, and it covers a group of incarcerated individuals who have basically been monetized and capitalized and used to turn prison systems into a gladiator type sporting event that is televised, and you can bet on it, you can watch it in person, and if they survive 3 years of being put to near death, they earn their freedom. It is harrowing, and it has a lot of really great footnotes. I also really liked his short story anthology, Friday Black. This takes real life events that have happened to the Black community and creates fictional stories surrounding them. My favorite one within this novel was Zimmerland. I thought that was very interesting and telling, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend reading anything by this author. You can't go wrong. If you're not new here, you've seen this before. This is Kylie Lee Baker's Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. This is adult horror, and it is fantastic. This is following Cora, who is a crime scene cleaner, and she is living during times of COVID when discrimination and hate against Asian Americans is very prominent and very rampant, and she is trying to figure out who is killing Asian Americans in her city, as well as dealing with some very ghastly and ghostly paranormal activities that are happening to her and her family. So interesting, so good. The body gore, the imagery in this book, I couldn't get over it. I've never seen anything so gory be written so lyrically at the same time. This was so good. If you have not read it, if it's not on your radar, you need to get this. It's wonderful. N.K. Jemisin is probably one of my top authors ever. If people ask me for fantastic fantasy, high fantasy, I point them to N.K. Jemisin almost just automatically. The Broken Earth series is probably some of the highest fantasy I've read, which is fantastic. But my favorite by N.K. Jemisin is the lesser-known Dreamblood duology, and that is The Killing Moon and The Shadowed Sun. I ate these books up. I loved them so much. I really enjoyed everything about these novels. I keep meaning to go back and reread them and getting like I just never end up doing it, but I really want to, because I had a fantastic time with this duology. I liked this more than her other works, and I cannot wait to read them again as I drop them and break them. That's fine. But yeah, absolutely give these a shot. If you are looking for something by N.K. Jemisin that might be a little bit easier to digest in the beginning before you get into the Broken Earth series, because these were a lot. This is probably one of the best books I've read in my entire life. I read almost 300 books last year, and I'm saying that with ultimate confidence that this is one of the best books I have ever read in my life. This was excellent. This is the opening to the Hierarchy series Will of the Many is book 1. Strength of the Few is coming out in November. And when I tell you, I would do disgusting and vile things for an ARC copy of that book. Unfortunately, I have been ignored thus far, but I absolutely need that book. This book was everything. It is a complex magic system, interesting and developed and nuanced characters, a stunning plot line, ramping up of a gory situation leading to almost supernatural, the magic, the world, the vibes, the everything. The main character Vis is so good and complex and layered, and just I loved this. I loved this. This book is thick. It's over 600 pages. I felt like I was reading a 200-page book. It flew by. Buy it, read it. I don't know that there's a more diverse genre writer than M.L. Wang. Like, seriously, how are you on my page and don't know who she is? The Sword of Kaigen and Blood Over Brighthaven are probably two of the most beautiful, wonderful books I've ever read in my life. Sword of Kaigen is a fantasy novel that follows a mother who is trying to embrace who she is and still love who she was. And it is a military type fantasy, and it's got elemental magic. It's heartbreaking, and the underlying theme through everything is motherhood for a woman that probably should have been child free. And honestly, enough people don't talk about that aspect of the novel. People go into this thinking it's just pure fantasy, and it is just pure fantasy, but there is that underlying heartbreaking theme of a mother who is forced by societal expectations to be something that she is not naturally inclined towards, and struggles with it while still wanting to do the best job that she can for her children. And I resonated, and that's probably why I love this book so much. Blood Over Brighthaven is a dark academia that takes a woman who is trying to make it in a man-centered world and puts her at the forefront of a revolution. This is fantastic. When our main character discovers a horrible secret she was not supposed to discover, she tries her best to do what she can to make it right. But being a woman in a man's world and constantly underestimated poses some real problems and tries to stop her at many points. But she's strong and she's determined. I loved this. This was fantastic. R.F. Kuang will always be somebody that I purchase their books immediately. I have read the Poppy War trilogy, which is the Poppy War, the Dragon Republic, and the Burning God 3 times. I read it 3 times. I have gone absolutely nuts with the annotations. I write in it, I highlight in it. I have read this, I've read all 3 of them 3 times. Babel was another one for me that I loved. I don't have it down here with me. It's up on a book tree, and I'm only 5'2", so it's like, but another one, it's a very close tie as to which I love more, the Poppy War trilogy or Babel. Yellowface was also very, very good, more of a thriller type situation, or literary fiction, I guess you could say, depends on how you look at it. But I loved that too, just not as much as, Poppy War or Babel. You can't go wrong with R.F. Kuang. You just can't. Sarah El-Arifi. I love these books. The Final Strife, The Battle Drum, and The Ending Fire. I love these so much that I bought special edition copies of them. I only buy special edition copies of books that I love more than life itself. I don't buy special edition copies very, very often. I belong to 0 book clubs or subscriptions or anything like that. Special edition books are just not something that draws me. I get the appeal. They're beautiful. They are fancy. I mean, look at these. Look at these. I get it, but they're just not something I gravitate towards to spend money on. I'd rather spend money on more books versus fancy books, but these were an exception. These were an absolute exception. This is an absolutely stunning trilogy that it's queer, it is nuanced, it's political, it's wonderful, and I absolutely devoured these books. I loved them so much. I cannot say enough good things about these novels. I flew through them. I did not, unfortunately, vibe with Feybound and Cursebound as much. While I still enjoyed them, I preferred this series over the other. And I just cannot get over how well done these books were. If you want a close up of these novels, more so than what I'm giving you right now, you just let me know and I'm happy to make a more detailed video for you. Ha says my girl, love her. But yeah, so definitely give these a shot because they're really, really good. They've got great queer representation. They've got great political intrigue. They are just a lot of fun. My favorite novelist is Jessie Q. Sutanto. She writes some really great stuff across a wide span of genres. And let's talk a little bit about what I love about these books. So I love her thrillers, first of all. Not Done With You Yet was fantastic, as will You Will Never Be Me. I really like her thrillers. I think they are a lot of fun and that they are basically more like popcorn thrillers for me. I'm not saying they are not without their issues or plot holes, but I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and I enjoy how I get to the areas that we get to, so I really enjoy her thrillers. But where she really shines for me is her like murder mystery rom-com type books, and that would be the Vera Wong books and her Aunties books. So we have some really great stuff going on in the Aunties books. This is Dial A for Aunties, The Good, the Bad, and the Aunties. This is a series of murder mystery novels with a subplot of romance for the main character, and they basically are meddlesome aunties that kind of just get into our main characters' lives all the time. And while they want to be nothing but helpful and loving and wonderful, they are usually underfoot and very annoying. But in the best way, these books always have me laughing and rolling all over the place. And I don't know that I can think of a character more endearing and lovable than Vera Wong, even though she is snarky and meddlesome. She is fantastic. I have read all of the Vera Wong books. This is the only one I physically own, but I've read all of them and I love them all. So highly suggest giving Jessie Q. Sutanto a try. She writes some really great stuff. Now, this is one where I have green flag books, but I'm not necessarily a diehard for the author. Leigh Bardugo is not necessarily one of my favorite authors. I've read other books by her that I have not hit on as well, but the Six of Crows duology, made up of the Six of Crows and the Crooked Kingdom, are two books that I will go to bat for and rage for every single time. I love these books. I think they're fantastic. I definitely want to do a reread and annotation of these soon. I read these before I really got into annotating, or else they would be tabbed to hell like my other ones, but I really enjoyed particularly this duology from her, so these are my green flag books from her. Joe Abercrombie is a grimdark must for me. I'm only going to hold up The Devils, which is his newest release, because if I hold up all of his books, I'll break my wrists. I have read every book Joe Abercrombie has ever written that is published. I've read them all. I've read the First Law trilogy. I've read the 3 interconnected standalones that came after. I read Sharp Ends, which is a series of short stories about those books. And I have read the Age of Madness trilogy, and now I have read The Devils. It's impossible to rank them in any kind of coherent way for me. I love all of them. I don't know if I could name a book that I love the most out of all of them. If you were to put a gun to my head and force me, I would say it's either The Devils or Red Country, which is one of the 3 interconnected standalones that come after the First World trilogy. I do have a reading order of Joe Abercrombie if you're interested. I will put that in the caption as well. There's going to be like 8 videos in the caption, but whatever, you know. But Joe Abercrombie is going to be a top for me every single time. S.A. Chakraborty, also known as Shannon Chakraborty, is one of my top authors ever. I have read the City of Brass trilogy, which is fantastic. It consists of the City of Brass, the Kingdom of Copper, and the Empire of Gold. I loved this trilogy. It was a lot of fun. As you can see, I went to town. I really liked The Adventures of Mina al-Sarafi. I have also read River of Silver, which is a series of short stories based on the City of Brass trilogy, the Davabad trilogy. I really liked that short story anthology as well. I thought it added a lot of nuance and a lot of information that I was missing from the trilogy. I really liked it, but I love everything that she writes. I am a fan, and I cannot wait till the next Amina book comes out. Do not come on my page and tell me you've never read Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Don't do it. And if you haven't read any of her books, pause the video, pause it, go read a book, and then come back and talk to me, because she's fantastic and I love her. This is another situation where it would be almost physically impossible for me to rank them in any cohesive order because they are all different and all fantastic in their own right. And Silvia Moreno Garcia is one of those authors that can write a span of genres so well that it's hard to compare her books to each other because they're just so uniquely different from each other. I recently read The Bewitching, which comes out in July, I think on the 15th. This is probably one of my favorite books by her ever. This was fantastic. This is a multi-timeline novel following three women who are dealing with witchcraft and the implications of such, and how they all eventually tie together. I loved this. This was so good. I cannot wait till this comes out in July so we can really talk about it because this book needs to be talked about. Mexican Gothic is probably the book she's the most well known for. This is a Gothic haunted house horror. Fantastic. Very slow burn though, so be aware of that. A lot of people go into this and have a hard time with how slow it ramps up, but it is worth the build. One of my absolute favorites is a sci-fi horror type, which is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. This is beautiful. It's set in the Yucatan Peninsula off Mexico. It is fantastic. It is crazy scientist father, dutiful daughter, hybrids. This is fantastic. I loved it. And I also really liked The Seventh Veil of Salome. I found this to be super interesting. It tackles the movie industry. It tackles California in a time when Mexicans were not really welcome there. They couldn't even own houses. They had to lie about their backgrounds in order to be able to buy property. It touches on some really great things, and it's really heavy on the racist themes. So keep that in mind. But I loved this novel. This one came out last year, I think. But honestly, you cannot go wrong. Certain Dark Things, it's another stellar novel by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which is a vampire kind of like dystopian that's set in Mexico City. Fantastic. A God of Jade and Shadows, where death is the literal love interest, and it is an Aztec Mayan kind of setting. Just go read anything by her. She even has a historical romance, The Beautiful Ones, which is fantastic. Silvia Moreno Garcia has my entire heart. Ramona Emerson is a local to me author that writes compelling and twisty thrillers. We have Shutter and Exposure. This one is set in Albuquerque. This one is set in Gallup, both in New Mexico. And Ramona is a Dene author, an indigenous author. Fantastic work. I never see her books on any FYP. I cannot recommend the amazingness that is Ramona Emerson more. If you like psychological thrillers, please give these a shot. They're fantastic. Last but certainly not least, this book is not going to be a shocker to a lot of you. The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez, but I also loved his lesser known, more sci-fi based story of The Vanished Birds. This one was both of these books made me cry. Both of them made me cry. But you might have heard that this one is extremely high fantasy, a little hard to follow for more seasoned fantasy readers, and that is absolutely accurate. This is a story within a story within a story. It's supposed to mimic oral storytelling, and it definitely does that, and it is a little bit harder to follow. So unless you are really well versed in fantasy, I don't necessarily recommend this as a starting point. But The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez is so much more accessible. So if you want to get into his work, this is a lesser talked about book, but really, really good and heartbreaking. So definitely give this a shot. But yeah, those are some more of my green flag books and authors. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry this is so long.